Necro-man didn't start off as Necro-man. Necro-man started off in the brain of Mark, my co-partner here, as Zombie Man. And he asked me to start writing a comic book with him based on this character. So I took the information home, and I thought, Zombie Man just didn't sound sexy enough. I thought to myself, we have to do something different, something to give it some appeal, sell the sizzle of the steak. So I thought of Necro-man. I said, we should use the costume that he originally designed that had a Z on it, and said, let's just turn it to make it Necro-man. And from that point on, we used some stuff from history to give him not only powers, but a healing factor as well. And that's basically the baseline of what, how Necro-man was established.
Necro-man for me is the definition of everything that I look for as an artist when it comes to everything I've done in my career up until this point. As usually a horror artist, my themes generally tend to lay on a little bit of the comedic side of things and kind of a twist on the normal conception of what a horror character might be. So zombies, for example, I have a whole series of, prior to Necro-man that I had done, with zombies in kind of everyday life situations. Or I guess a good example would be maybe like Frankenstein jump-starting a car. You know, you have these characters that just want to do good or have the ability to do good, and you need to look at kind of the other aspect of it and kind of what our conception of these kind of horror characters are up to this point. So the opportunity to work on Necro-man, I mean, he is the, like I said, the definition of that. He's a superhero as a zombie, where everybody kind of has that thought process of them being mindless, just kind of fragile things that just, you know, and he is what he is for that reason. But you know, it's been a joy to be able to kind of flesh that out, if you will, on the pages as far as creating the character, because ultimately, for me, every page seems to be something that could be right out of you know, your next blockbuster film, and that's how we write it, and that's how these guys give me. It's almost like I've said many times before. It's kind of like I've been given just a chainsaw and an apron and been told to just kind of go and have fun. I have as much creative control as they give me, and that's a whole heck of a lot. And you know, again, as an artist, it's an absolute joy.
What to expect from issue 2, what's not to expect from issue 2. The first one was 11 pages, which was really quick ground laying work that we did, where we introduced you to most of the characters. Number 2 is going to be 22 pages, which is what a normal comic book length is, and the cast will grow, the plot will thicken, and the danger gets a lot greater. So we get to see him make more steps towards learning how to be a superhero zombie, because there's not really like a handbook on that, so he's got to figure it all out. And character development was a big thing in this one. I really wanted to make you fall in love with Necro-man and make you want to see him achieve his goals.
Well, we certainly want to thank everybody that's been with us on this ride so far. There's a lot more in store with Necro-man number 2. I can tell you, as an artist, I'm personally excited about having the privilege of bringing to life some of these new villains and things that we can expect in the new issue. And Mark, Liam, why don't you tell us a little bit about these new villains that we can expect?
Well, Dr. Hubchick makes his return, and we get to see what his plans are. And he also has with him an Igor character that's kind of like his right-hand man, called Cicada the Red, and he's like a bug type character that's, you know, really kind of small and frail, but hopefully in time we'll see that he poses a big threat to Necro-man. We also get to see the Devil make an appearance in this issue. And Liam.
Well, one thing the Devil needs is people to help him. His right-hand man is going to be Preacher Moss. Preacher Moss, we're going to basically tie in history as having more of a foothold in Ireland, and in time we're going to get him even further in time to be in Egypt. That the recipe to make zombies was something that was done 2,000 years ago, and it hasn't been fulfilled because the right people who've acquired the Book of the Dead could not get the recipe correct. And what happens is, as you're going to see as the story draws out, is Dr. Hubcheck is going to be the guy to get it right. So we're going to see a number of different zombies because he made some mistakes along the way. And Preacher Moss is the guy who gets the books into the hands of the people throughout history. And in this case, he got it into Dr. Hubcheck's hands. Preacher Moss is going to be, he's going to be like wearing a straw hat, and he's going to be a little thin. He hasn't had a sandwich in a while type of look, but he's going to wear a cassock, and it's going to be a two-tone classic cassock look, if you will. And he's going to have a big green jacket on. He's going to look almost like a farmer, but your old type of school preacher farmer, and you're going to think he's good, but he has a tendency for evil. We'll see what happens as the book progresses, but doesn't look like he's going to be an all-in-all good guy.
And as the artist, that's something I've always appreciated from these guys, is getting such detail and elaborateness. I mean, I get the idea is to work on some projects or some concept art or commission work, and it's just kind of well, I want to see a zombie-looking guy or a skull guy with a red shirt or something. And you just kind of one sentence is certainly enough for somebody like me to elaborate on and just kind of have that ability. But it just seems to be so much more of a collaboration when you've got great minds in addition to great talent working together, and that's what we're excited to show you guys actually. And to bring to that point, thank you again for watching the promo, watching the video. We hope to see you for Necro-man #2 when it's released in October, but right now, stay tuned. We're going to have some concept art for you. We're also going to have the unveiling of the front cover for issue #2. So here we go. Thanks again, guys.
So one of the fun things about trying to get these books out in a timely manner is also going out to promote and be out in the feet on the street and all that fun stuff. So by the time this video airs, we'll have already done Baltimore Comic-Con, which is coming up here. But afterwards, 10/13/13, we're going to be at the Harrisburg Zombie Walk. I think they're having it at Lincolnstown Paintball, although it's not a paintball event. We're also going to be out there to support a great charity. It's known as Scares That Care, and they focus on childhood diseases and how to overcome that by way of just trying to raise money. So we're all in support of that, and since it's a horror-themed charity, hey, that seems to work for us pretty well. But where else are we going to be at, guys?
We're going to be right here at Comic Books and Paperback Plus in Palmyra in October for the Halloween version of Free Comic Book Day, which will be the release of the second issue.
Yep, we're looking forward to that day, so please come on down and see us.
We certainly want to thank Ralph and the great guys at Comics and Paperback Plus for all their support as far as being a local place to pick it up. If you're not so local and you're not in the Harrisburg or even Pennsylvania area or Hershey, you can certainly jump on paranoiacomics.com and get a little bit more information about where to pick up these crazy books.
How about your website?
Well, there's that one too. I guess I have, if you like my artwork and you want to check that one out, I'm at t-shub.com, shub.com. Thank you. So Death Ride for me was actually a pretty cool thing to come full circle with Paranoia Comics on, because that was actually the first project that we had even talked about doing when we had I first engaged with them over a year ago. Necro-man came to the forefront just because of timing and their budget and what we could make work, but the idea was kind of lingering in the back of my mind of almost like an unfinished business type of thing, and I know that that's how they feel about it too, because the thing that I felt so strongly about was the fact that they have a full movie that's about 70% shot. So there's a full script, there's a whole developed story with backgrounds and concepts. I mean, the script on this is literally a movie script. So from an artist standpoint, you have every little inch of material that you need and then some to get exactly what you're looking for and exactly what the creators are looking for in terms of the project. So it was really, really interesting to finish Necro-man and have the opportunity to come back, and the timing was right, and I figured let's bring it on. So from an artistic standpoint, I definitely took this in a different direction than I did with Necro-man, just because of the fact that it is very character driven. The actual theme and feel of it is more of kind of a Sin City sort of mentality, where you've got really, really dark tones. In fact, the actual book, the first issue, has been done entirely in black and white for that reason. And since an old I guess my skill set being kind of more of the charcoal-based artist, the fine arts guy from back in the day, it was neat to be able to kind of incorporate that and give it more of a really artsy feel and a different vibe to it all around. So I'm really excited about the first issue, and we'll have a few more in the series before it's done, and hopefully the movie will be right behind it.
Deathrite was a concept that I came up with a while ago because I had watched some of my favorite movies, which are all the Halloweens, the Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. And once I had gotten through all the series, I felt myself wanting more, and I wanted to find out more about these characters. So I delved into some of the comic books that came out featuring these characters, and I felt like the comic books lacked some of the luster that the movies had. So I wanted to sink my teeth into trying to write my own and come up with my own masked killer, so to speak. So in trying to come up with an idea for a story for this, someone had brought the idea to me that they said, you watch so many of these horror movies and you're going to become obsessed and be a killer yourself, which I thought was ridiculous, but I thought it would be neat to put that into a story. So I had about 3/4 of the story written, and a friend of mine that I work with introduced me to Brogan here, and he helped me put the finishing touches to the story.
Just like everything Mark touched, he would lay the groundwork, put the seed in the earth, if you will, and then I came over and I nurtured it. He told me about this idea, and I said, boy, this is good, because I love horror films as well. My first horror film was Jaws. Loved that. I saw, after that, the first Michael Myers film of Halloween. Loved that. Couldn't get enough of it. But the one thing I didn't like about the Halloweens, the Friday the 13th, and the Jasons is that they always came back. They can kill them, they're going to come back. No matter what happens, we're going to see them come back again. And in fact, I forget what Friday the 13th I was watching, but the beginning showed these kids digging up the body and getting mad because he went on a mass murdering thing, and they start sticking him with a metal pole of sorts. And then of course lightning struck it, and that's brought him back to life. And I thought, if every time you have to come up with a creative way to bring him back, just don't kill him at the end. Just let him just walk away for some odd reason. But I wanted to make this different, that if we wanted to bring him back, we could, but if we wanted to really kill this person, let this person die. So the real power in Deathrite is the weapon, that whoever has this weapon gets not just power, but information, because this weapon is going to be historically linked through famous people in history. Say, for instance, Vlad the Impaler. He actually had ways of treating the enemy good and sneaking behind the scenes and doing the evil that he needed to do. He was also good in knowing his terrain. So that's going to inspire the holder of the weapon. We're going to go through history of Elizabeth Bathory, many killers, so that way when you get the weapon, if it speaks to you, it's not going to give you all this information at once. It's going to give you the information you need to get you out of the situation, or how to kill, because just because you pick up a knife doesn't mean you know how to kill properly. So that's what this weapon's going to do. That way, if this villain that we're using, we decide to kill off, we can kill off and then give this weapon to another person and pick another person through history who touched it as the inspiration to go on killing. It doesn't mean that the person dies and then that's it, and we have to think of clever ways to bring him back. We can just give it to another person. In fact, my favorite person through history was a man named Jan Hus. He stood up against the Catholic Church and basically paid for his sins of going against the Catholic Church. And that's where the origin of this blade is going to take place. And it's going to take, just go through time, touch people's hands, and it's going to touch people with good intentions. So that way we're going to have a actual good versus evil fight at the end in time. It's not going to take place in Deathrite, but as we push forward, you're going to see that evolve and actually transpire.